AppExchange.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Now let me. All right. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
See, if you want to build any functionality, right, you can do it in one of the. If you want to get something done, right? So let's say you want to build a cabinet, right? So what are the ways, if you want a cabinet, what are the ways in which you can get a cabinet?
I'll say you can either buy a new cabinet or you can get all the cabinet parts and put it together yourself. You're muted, by the way.
Okay. All right. Okay. So let's see. Right. So one thing what you can do is you can get something for free or out of the box, right? The other one is you can make your own, right? So if it is free in Salesforce, it is out of the box. Free, it's not technically free. It's free or whatever you're licensed to do, correct? The other one is you want to build your own, right? This is, customization, right? And out of the box, you could also say is configuration. Okay. And then the third way you can get something is you can buy, right? And that is AppExchange. Right? So if you're a company, those are your options. Okay. When I say build your own, doesn't mean the CEO is sitting down to build, but he may just bring a team of either, employees or contractors, and then they can build something for them, right? So you already know how to use out of the box leads. You know a little bit of configuration, so you've done that. We'll go into some of the customization as we go later today, but let's focus on AppExchange. Does that make sense? So I want to make sure not only how to do something, but where it falls in the bigger picture. Right? So is everybody clear? If you want to get something, whether it is a kitchen cabinet or something, some functionality available, right? So when I say 3 ways to get what you want, I'm referring to get the functionality you want, right? So let's say you want to build a functionality for your shipping department, right? So either the application already handles everything. Let's say you want to print shipping labels, right? Either Salesforce already prints it, or you build your application, or you search for something on the internet. Does that make sense? So that's what we'll do now. So I want to make sure everybody is logged into their application. Okay. All right. And then go ahead and search for AppExchange. Okay. So anything you want to customize, then you are looking at it as an administrator, not as a end user. So you need to make sure you're in setup. Okay. Everybody's logged into their account and you're in setup, and then just search for AppExchange. So AppExchange, all of you have smartphones. It's just like going to Google Play or, uh, you know, iPhone has an app store, correct? So
You
it's the
can also
exact same thing.
find it in apps.
Right. Yeah. So you can go to apps and then you can go from the AppExchange. So that's a good point, right? So I can go
The
to
app
app,
launcher.
and then I can go to my app manager, and I can create apps here, right? And
Maybe
you're
it's not
saying
in that
being able to
manager.
go. Yeah. So AppExchange, generally end users
I
are
think
not allowed to
all.
install apps, right? End users are not allowed to install, right? So this is a good place to go. I know there are a couple of places where you'll also find it, but let's go to the AppExchange for the time being. I don't know why this keeps switching out for me.
That's weird. It's stuck in the app manager.
Right. I think earlier I used it just a couple of minutes ago. I had canceled it. I don't know if that's what's causing it, but if that does happen, then I'll just restart my software. Okay. Is everybody seeing the same screen as I am?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. Now, there are several applications. So let's say you want to search something for printing labels, right? So just see if you can find something for a printing label, or just search for print and see what options here. See here. So there's something that creates a barcode. Okay. Even USPS has, where it can take your addresses and then convert it into a shipping label. Okay. Now, the best way to learn about this is, okay, is everybody able to find USPS? This is the United States Postal Service, right? So you can click on it and it'll give you some information. Now, when you're installing an application, remember Salesforce generally doesn't build it, somebody else has built it. So either they are free or paid, right? So this is a shipping app, and what it's basically doing is follow the wizard to create your shipment. So you can create a shipment, it will create your shipping labels, looks like USPS, send mail, you can track your packages. So it has some of the functionality. If you have ever gone to a post office, the person on the other side of the desk is getting a keying in your address and then saying, okay, all right, I can send it by speed mail or whatever means you want it, and then tell you how much it costs, how long it takes, and print the labels and so forth. So that's what this is doing, right? And most of these applications are either paid or they are free. So what you do is you can click on get it now. Okay. But before that, especially if you're a company installing it, you would first try it out, right? You will do a test drive. Okay. And I will go there in a second. You'll do a test drive, and that's where you can get the information. So before that, I want everybody to just click on watch demo and go ahead and watch it. And it will ask you to log in because they want to get a sense of how many people are, you know, exploring their apps. So they want to make them better, give the right information up front. Okay, so everybody knows how to get here. Anybody has any questions? No?
So you're downloading the app, right?
Right now, I'm just clicking on, watch demo.
Oh,
We'll download it. See, when you're downloading, it's like, you're either testing it or you're buying something, but you can also just learn about it before, to understand what it does. We know this is a shipping app, but what does it do, right? So you want to get a sense of that.
oh,
All right. Okay. Give it a second. It's probably trying to
It
load.
took me
But
to a YouTube.
yeah, because that's a demo. So we'll give it a second, see what shows up.
Here's the link separately.
Okay. All right. If anybody wants to click on that, they can go ahead and click on the link that Kevin just shared. I don't know why mine is taking forever. Give me a second. All right. Sorry. Uh, Let me click on it. And have you guys all been able to watch the demo?
yes.
Okay, cool. All right, so you can learn a little bit about the app. I don't know why, for some reason, mine doesn't show the YouTube video. All right, I'm gonna just cancel this. And if you want to test drive it, if you want to install it, you can go ahead and install it. Okay. Now, what I would suggest is you can install this. I haven't had a chance to play with the app myself, but when you install an app, it's like you're learning a new piece of functionality, right? So you are installing something so that somebody developed, right? It's like playing a new video game or installing a new app on your phone. You have to poke around, get a feel for it, try things out and see how it works, right? So it tells you, but the best thing is it tells you, what are all the features it has. So this one includes total of 6 tabs. So this is not a single tab. This is not a single tab. right? But it has 6 tabs. It's one application and it has 26 custom objects. So it's a fairly complex application, right? And they're saying, hey, it's lightning ready. There are no limits to how many, you know, there are no limits. That means this doesn't count towards any of the organization limits that your company may have, right? So you can, these tabs and everything are separate. And then it is also optimized for Salesforce One basically is a mobile application. Okay, so what we can do is we can try this out. As you can see, this is a paid service. We'll obviously not buy it, but you can click on test drive, open login, and some of this, depending on how big the software is, it will take a while to install. Okay, just be aware of that. And there's also a couple of other apps which are very popular. So one of the apps, so what you can do is if you want to figure out, you can also search for popular app exchange, free apps, right? So if you search for popular app exchange free apps, one of the free apps, this one doesn't list what I'm looking for, but there's something called dashboards. So you can actually go ahead and use that. So there are several applications. So this one lets you mass update and edit, and this is a free software. So this is something that should be quick. Okay, it because in Salesforce, if you're trying to edit records from the front end, it only lets you edit 25 records at a time. So this one will let you do a lot more. Okay, so we can also explore this one. Let me try to do it while you guys are exploring the post office. And if one of you succeeds in installing post office, you can show me. Okay, so what did I do here? I just went to Google. Okay, I went to Google and I searched for popular AppExchange free apps. Okay, and then I click on the first link and I click on the mass update and edit. Okay, here what I'm trying to show you here is not so much the particular application, but how to install apps from the AppExchange. Okay, so you would click on it and I'll say I want to start a free trial. Okay. Free rapid response solutions. I don't know why. Let me see. Actually, you need a Salesforce account. That's okay. So what I'll do is instead of clicking get it now here, I'm already logged into my application. So I can go and search for that. So I can search here.
You can search for the word free and even sort it by popularity.
Yep.
And the first thing is the Salesforce adoption dashboards.
Perfect. Yeah. So don't click on that. So that's why I said, make sure you come back to your application, click on AppExchange. Don't know why it keeps crashing today. Give me a second. So make sure you're logged into Salesforce, go to setup, click on AppExchange Marketplace. Okay, and what I wanted, the application I wanted was, what was it called? It was called Mass Update, right? So let me go back here. This was called Mass Update. Okay, and this is from Salesforce Labs. Okay, now there's the one that Kevin talked about, that is also from Salesforce Lab. Salesforce Lab is an independent company. So this is what he's talking about. You can download reports also. So you can either build your own reports or you can download reports. What I want to show you is something, relatively quick. So this would also help. So I want to install mass update and edit. So what I do is I go back to my AppExchange, mass. Okay, is everybody on AppExchange? Go to
Yes.
AppExchange, please. Yeah, go to AppExchange. Go to Salesforce. No, you're already on Salesforce, right? You have a Salesforce session open. Go ahead, open it. Okay, go to home. Search for AppExchange. Yeah, sorry. Okay, all right. And then I search for mass update. Mass update, I found 100 and that's gonna take a while. Let me see. Let me see if there's any other keyword I can readily use. Okay, so mass update and mass edit. This is the name from a list view. So this basically it's telling you you can do this from a list view, right? So I'm gonna just search for this, see if it filters it. Mass update, mass edit, mass delete. Still it's giving me 57. So I'm gonna search for Salesforce Labs. Salesforce Labs. Okay, are you guys searching alongside? Now I can see just a handful. So I can use one of these. Okay, so let me click on one to see if this is the one I'm looking for. Okay, go ahead. Did you guys? So this is standard and custom. Who's the provider here? If you click on provider, this is Versatile Capital. This is not what I want. Then where is this from? Let me see who the provider is for this. This is from Salesforce Labs. I'm trying to find the exact name of this application. Just go ahead and search for this. Okay, so this is the name that I copied now. I'm gonna just search all over again. K Cloud. This listing is private and cannot be found, it says. Okay, so maybe this is not available for now. So as you saw the note there, it says it cannot be found. So I'm gonna just go ahead and for the time being, I can just go ahead and install this one. Okay, so the Salesforce adoption dashboards. All right, are you guys still with me? Yeah. So which one are you searching for, Suzanne? Go ahead and search for this.
The same thing or
Okay, so the mass update, what that website was saying was the mass update is a private listing. That means it is only from company A to company B. They're not letting public buy it. Okay, so instead, I'm gonna just search for the Salesforce adoption dashboard. Okay, so this is the very first one. So adoption dashboard basically means, when you build an application, you want all your staff, right, all your employees to adopt the software. That's what this means, right? So this is checking metrics on how many users are there, when did they log in, how long did they use it, and so forth. Okay, so that's what this adoption dashboard is. So go ahead and click on the first one. And then you can click on get it now. Before that, if you want to read, you can read about, okay, hey, is it free? Is it lightning ready? Is it compatible with various editions? What kind of reviews does it have? Just like when you're installing an app, you would read about all of those things. So this one has a pretty decent rating. You know who the provider is. That is the Salesforce Lab, right? And this is basically a what they do is this is a Salesforce employees who are building it, but essentially it's part of a community development. It's not something that Salesforce maintains. Okay. All right. You can read more about how the labs work and so forth. But right now, I'm just going to go ahead and install the Salesforce adoption dashboard. As you can see here, they have a lot of other applications. Okay. They've created a lot of other applications that you can potentially use. If you want to handle class enrollments, you can use this. Okay, so you can monitor student enrollments here. Okay, so for the time being, let's go ahead and get this now, and then it will ask you to log in. And once you log in, click on allow. And that should take a few minutes in order to install. What's happening for you? Okay, login is successful, and then is it waiting? Has anybody been able to go past this step?
Yeah, the classic mode was opened. I think
Okay,
no.
so did it install for you?
I think it is different screen. I think.
Okay. Um, uh, okay, Shobha, Suzanne, Kevin, have you guys had any luck
Same thing to
installing?
you. I have problem. I'm
For
not
me,
able.
the
So,
United Postal was opening.
oh, okay, so you were able to install it. That's good. So that's an app that you've installed. So we can look at your screen in a second. So I'm not sure why my app is behaving funny today. Kevin, any luck on your end?
Yeah, I
Because
just
I've
got
been on screen.
installation complete.
Okay, you got it complete. So maybe don't cancel it, let it install. Meanwhile, I'm gonna stop sharing, Kevin, if you don't mind sharing your screen. All right.
Share screen.
Yeah. Go ahead, share your screen, and if you can just walk us through it.
I already did it.
Okay, yeah. I cannot see your screen.
Yeah, we can see it.
Maybe it takes a second.
Oh, okay. Got it. Uh,
I had to click on a few, like, yes, I've read the terms and conditions,
okay.
and install in this organization and for all users.
Yep. Okay. Are you guys following along? Right. So when you install, okay, Jyotsna, if you install that USPS app, that would also ask the same things. Okay. Just make sure if it's asking for a credit card, don't enter because after the trial period, it will charge you. Of course, the Salesforce Lab apps are all free.
Another detail I've noticed is that when we look at the contents, it has 0 of these custom things. I think that's because it's built entirely out of standard objects.
Yeah, that's a good thing then, right? So it doesn't have any custom objects.
There's nothing new. That's all just made out of what we already have.
Nice. And this is a reporting application, and you're reporting out of out of the box objects. So yeah, so it's they have not written any codes or any kind of custom functionality. That's a good sign.
And I've already got it. So I can't install it again.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So can you show us where it is?
In the AppExchange
No, not in
or in my organization. Would that be under dashboards?
Yeah, go to
Maybe.
dashboards.
All dashboards. User adoption.
Right.
So
So
like
because
user
that
adoption.
went in there, right? If you install some other app, you would go to the app launcher to find it. Okay. So because this is the dashboard, it is under the dashboards, and you can see how many people logged in, and when they
Number of
log.
logins, all user logins, all this stuff. By
Yep.
department, by role, everything you could need to track all of your login info.
Right. And this is especially helpful when you have a lot of team members. Right now, it's just Kevin and one other user on Kevin's account. Right. The integration, the knowledge, security user, those are all like out of the box, like he's not actively logging in as them. Does that make sense? So you can install, there are several hundreds, if not thousands of apps that you can potentially install. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do is for now, I'll skip the installation and let me share my screen again. Okay. All right. I can see Kevin's screen now. All right. Thank you, Kevin.
It just makes a whole lot of dashboards that is made entirely out of features we already have.
Right.
Nothing's new or custom.
That's good. Okay. All right, give me 1 second.
You could imagine for a big business, instead of making all these dashboards yourself, you could just install this package and then you could show it to your manager or whoever.
Right.
Look how many people are logging in. This is how much they're actually using Salesforce.
Right. All right, give me 1 minute and we'll get rolling, okay?
For me, when I'm trying for the dashboard, it is giving the USPS app only.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right, we will tackle that in a bit. Okay.
Okay.
Or if you want to show your screen and Kevin can help troubleshoot that while I just need a minute to finish up something. Kevin, you
It's
want to
on a
take a look
different
at
screen.
Jyotsna's? Are you able to share your screen, Jyotsna, or no?
No, because it is on the different one.
Okay. All right. One second. All right, hold on 1 second. Okay. Now what we'll do is we have built applications, right? So next what I want to do is I want to focus on the Lightning app builder. Okay, so that's what we'll explore. So let me see. You guys can still see my screen, correct?
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right. Jyotsna, just X out of the AppExchange. Okay. And then what? See, if you want to build an app, what do? Well, you go to your object, you create some objects, and then you go here and go to App Manager. So this is to create an application, right? So you go to your App Manager. Do you guys remember doing this? Kevin, were you able to walk them through the App Manager last time? Okay, cool. So if you want to make a new application, this is where you would go, right? Now, apart from making an application, you also have various pages. Okay, can everybody create a new tab and then go to your sales application and go to the sales page? Okay, go to your sales app, please. 30 minutes later. Okay. All right, guys. So if you are on the sales app, go to leads, right? And then you can search for all open leads. Okay. And then open one of the leads. Okay. All right. So if you go to details, for example, right? If you look at this whole thing is a page, right? Now, sales is an application. Sales has all of these tabs, right? But if you want to make a sales application, then you would make all these app objects and then associate you can go to Object Manager and make changes. So today what I want to do is I want to show you how to change the front end. Okay, so how do you change a front end? That's what we'll cover. So first what I want you to do, so I'll show you how it looks and then we'll go back and make a different change. So click on the support, please, and then click on edit page. So if you click on edit page, it should open a Lightning app builder. Okay. So how did I get here? So all I did, I'll just click on back. I want to leave, right? So I am on leads page. Okay, Suzanne, are you following along? I'm on the leads page, and then I went to leads detail. I'm able to see all the leads here. I click on the gear and I click on edit page. If I edit object, where do I go? If I click on edit object, it takes me to the object manager, right? This is where I can change the fields, I can change the logic, I can change some of the layout and so forth. But what I'm interested in is I'm interested in changing the page just like a website, right? So I click on the gear and I can click on edit page. This only works in Lightning, okay? Because Lightning has the Lightning app builder. Classic doesn't have a classic app builder. Does it make sense? Okay, so I'm here. So let's say I want to move things around, right? I want to maybe take this bar and then I want to place, let's see if I can move it. Okay, where is it? I can take this and I can place it here, right? And there's a spot for the apps. Let me see if I can move something here. I can add components if I want to, but that's an open space right now. Okay. All right. Now, if I want to move these around, if I want to put campaign history above, I can do that. Right. And of course, this is out of the box. I'm messing with it. What you may want to do is you may want to save this. Okay. And you can also, we'll explore a couple more things here. You can also click on desktop and change this to phone. So you can get a phone layout. Right. So as opposed to a laptop, a phone has a very tiny screen, so its layout is completely different. So you can still see the lead, you can see their activities, right? But you'll have to click one at a time in order to see the information. Does that make sense? So this kind of mimics your phone. We'll come back to the mobile app in a second.
If you make a layout on the phone and then you make one on the computer,
yeah,
does it mean there's going to be two layouts for one lead, or will the layouts always stay the same?
So there's something called responsive. That means you make for one, it's available on the other. Yeah. Other times what you do is you make a separate layout and just make it mobile only.
Yeah.
You can do that and then just assign it to the mobile profiles.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll explore mobile in our next class. But in today's class, so what I did is I just moved things around. Okay. And then if I save this, let's see if I have an option to. Okay, so if I save, I can activate it and then I should be able to. So it says activate this page. That means it will make it visible to others, right? So if you're still editing, it's like publishing a web page, right? You can make all the edits you want, but once you publish, then your users can see it. So if I click on activate and then click on close, okay, so this is my activation. Oh, 1 second. I think I need to click on assign as the default org. This is where you're selecting the form factor. If somebody's talking about a form factor, they're saying it's either a desktop, a phone, or both. Okay, so for the time being, I want to just make one for the desktop. We'll come back to mobile phone later on. Okay, all right, then click on next and then click on save. All right, so once you save, you can click on back. Let me make sure I saved it. Yeah, if you remember, the campaign history was below the duplicate page, correct? And this bar was actually right here. Okay, because this is called a compact layout. The compact layout is usually above. So like, for example, if you look at accounts, the compact layout will be on top, right? So you have your compact layout here. If you go to opportunities, again, same thing. This is the compact layout. Then you have your process flow. Then you have, your activity details and so forth. But for leads, what did we do? We moved things around, right? Okay, were you guys able to follow? For now, I did not edit anything. I just moved things around, right? So, and because it's a layout, it applies to all the records. I have my process flow at the top, my compact view or compact layout in the middle, and then I have on the right hand side, I have campaign history. Does that make sense? The functionality still works the same. Its layout is now changed. So you're able to quickly change the page layout without writing any code. Okay. All right. Were you guys able to do this?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right. And okay, so what I want to do is I want to go to my setup and then go ahead and search for Lightning App Builder. Okay, so instead of editing an existing page, you can also create a brand new page. Okay, so go ahead and search for Lightning App Builder, and this is your Lightning App Builder on the user interface. Okay, so let me just
It's under user interface.
yeah, it's under user interface. I just want to take a second to see how this information is grouped, right? So typically, you know, if you are a administrator, you are managing the either people or data, right? And then you have various platform tools. So that includes you creating applications, right? Enabling various features. Okay, and then like for example, you're working with objects and fields. Okay, that's where you would have your object manager, which is also assigned as a special tab right here. But this is typical. This is your object manager. So just I want everybody to just take a second and read. Okay, hey, what's part of administration and what is part of platform tools? You don't have to know everything, but just understand that. Okay, hey, I can build applications, I can change objects and fields, and I can handle some workflows and process automation, right? And then we are talking about the front end, right? We're talking about the layout of the page. So that's why it's part of the user interface, and you go to Lightning App Builder. Okay, so go ahead and click on Lightning App Builder. Okay, so what we'll do is if you have not created anything before, this will obviously be new, will be blank. That's okay, but you should have a new button. Does everybody have a new button? Suzanne, Jyotsna, Shobha?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay,
Yes.
cool. All right, you guys need to talk so I know you're following along. Okay, go ahead and click on it. And the first thing it asks you is, okay, hey, do you want to make an app page, right? So this is a one page. The home page is usually your first page, right? And then you can also make a record page, which is within a tab. You can add details for a single record. For now, I want to just make a single app page. Okay. So I'm going to click on next. And here, let's go ahead and give it a label. Okay, so what you can do is you can give it a name. It could be test or anything that makes sense for you. Okay. So for now, I'm gonna just say I have a home page, but I want to make this a custom home. So I'll just call it custom home. Okay, I put my initials, so I just know that this was created by me. Okay, so did everybody give it a label? And then click on next. Okay, take a second to understand what's happening here, right? So here it's saying, okay, hey, how do you want it? Do you want a header? Header is on the top. And do you want a left-hand sidebar or do you want a right-hand sidebar, right? Do you want a header in 3 equal regions? And this is your desktop, your iPad or laptop, and then you have your iPad and iPhone, right? So these are the different form factors. You have a desktop and a phone form factor, right? When I say phone, I'm also a phone includes tablets, right? They have a very similar interface. The screen size is different. Okay, so there are different options, right? So let's say you want to create, we can go with the first one, right? So I have a header and then I have a sidebar. So I'm going to go and click on next. Okay. It also gives you instructions, which is good. And anytime you're launching something for the first time, you can get a quick tour. So if you click on the quick tour, what it does is it has a set of 11 steps. Okay, so I'll read through the steps very quickly here, but this is something you can do leisurely, you can explore. So anytime you install something new, this is a built-in help feature that Salesforce has. Right? And let's say you're stuck. Let's say you're on the job, you don't know what to do here. All you do is you take this information, put it in YouTube. You can also click here, right? So what it does is it can give you information that is context sensitive. So if you click on the help on the right hand corner, it will give you more tips. It is also, if you click here, it will show you the app builder help pages. Okay, it gives you trailhead, it gives you a lot of information because Salesforce wants you to succeed. They'll give you all the information you need in order to learn more about what you're doing. Okay, all right. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and go through these steps, right? Okay, so this is your components pane, right? So these are the different components. Components are like parts, right? So like, for example, you want to put a header on top, right? So header is your rich text. So let's say you want to put a header on top here, right? Click on the head. Let's go to the tour. We'll come back to more details. So this is a components page, right? You can either have standard components or you can have custom components, right? You did not build anything, so the custom components is not showing here. You did not install anything, that's why they are not showing up here. Okay, all right, so we'll come back to this, and the third one will be, see, this is standard, that means it's out of the box. This is custom. What's the third one? What's the third way to get a kitchen cabinet? The house already has it, that's standard. Or you
Buying.
build your own? Buying, exactly. Where do you buy in Salesforce?
AppExchange.
Exactly, right? So you buy from the AppExchange. Okay, so right now we didn't buy anything, we didn't make anything, so we are hoping whatever is in the house, we'll leverage it for the time being. Okay, so this is your components. You want to get comfortable with the terminology, and the best thing is, again, Salesforce is not meant to be a puzzle, so it tells you everything right there. You just have to look, you have to just get familiar with it. Okay, so this is your components pane. Okay, this is a custom pane. As you see here, I can click on this and I can get a custom component. Just like custom apps, I can get a custom components, right? So if I want a pop-up, I can get that. So I can just click here and install pop-ups. So if you want any pop-ups on your website, you can get that information. So this is a pop-up, right? So you can program it, you can attach. Does that make sense? So you can install and you'll get more and more familiar. Right now, there's no point in installing something because you want to first understand what is standard, right? But you could do that. Okay, so we got a components pane. You have custom components. You can add them to the page like we did with the text. We'll go back and edit some more, right? And these are the properties of the component. See, I added a text bar. I can click on this and I say, welcome to Firebolt Consulting, right? So I can do this and I can select it, make it bold. I can pick a color, right? And I can increase its font. I can center align it, make it bold, right? So you can display it, right? You can also move it around. All right, so these are the component properties. If I click on this, this will show properties of this particular item, a section. This will show properties of this section. And if I go back here, it will show me properties. Here it's telling me I can move the component, and this is what? When you see a trash can, what does it mean? I can delete it, correct? Yes. All right. Okay, I'm not hearing anything. I want to make sure you guys are following along. Is everybody on the same page?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Jyotsna, Suzanne?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good. All right. So then we saw these are the properties of the component. These are the components. Okay. All right. Next is these are the page properties. So you can have multiple pages. So right now we have one page, right? And we can assign properties to the page. Okay. All right. Next, I can do some global actions, right? Global actions could be, what you generally see on a website. These are some of the actions, right? Yesterday, you remember we talked about a whole lot of actions. This is some of them, right? So I can have some actions here. Okay, so that's global actions. We'll come back to it. These are the device previews, right? So if you want to see this on a desktop, this is how it looks. If you want to see it on a mobile phone or a tablet, this is how it looks. Same exact thing. You didn't have to do it twice, right? So you have to remember that. So I'm going to go back to desktop for the time being. I go to next, and then I can save it, obviously, and I can activate it. That's it, right? So that was pretty neat. And if you ever need help, you can also click here and take the tour again. So it's not like a one-time deal. Okay. And if you don't want it, you can always cross out. All right. Jyotsna, how do you get the tour back?
By clicking in the.
Where should I click? I click on the help, right? Click on the help and take the tour. That's where I can get it. Okay. All right. So I added the name here, right? Now what I want to do is let's see what are the properties it offers me. I can add this information, and I can also set I can set visibility, who sees this information. So if I want to add a filter, right, I can say, okay, select a field. If I, for example, want to say user, right? User, let's say user user role, and then let me see if I have a user role, name of the user role, and you can, okay, select a field type and then indicate that there are more fields than available. Give me 1 second. Let me try to do a filter. So filter is, okay, let me go back here. Let me select a filter, and I want to go with, okay, who's the user, right? And what is their role, for example. Okay, administrator, is it a role or a profile?
I think it's a profile.
Right. So if I forget, all I have to do is go to setup and go to users. And I can go to my user account, right? Because I'm an administrator. So this is me, right? And as you can see here, like Kevin rightly said, this is my profile. My role is a CEO, right? And this is my profile. So that's how I know what it is. So what I want to do is I want to say user profile, and I want to say user profile not created by, but user profile name. Okay, so user profile name contains, I could either say contains, 1 second, let me add the filter very quickly. Sorry, I'm having to do this multiple times, but what I'm basically trying to do is I want this to be visible only for one type of role, so I can control it. So that's called a dynamic lightning page. Okay, so user profile, select user profile, and user profile name contains okay, contains, let's say, administrator, right? That means anybody who has, make sure you spell it correctly, and then that means this component is only visible. That's what this means. When you see the I, that means there's a visibility, component visibility associated with it. So if I log in, I'll see it, but if Aditi logs in, she won't see it. Okay, even if both of us have access to the custom home page. Okay, all right, let me add more components here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a list view here. Okay, I can add a list view here. And what will this list view include? It doesn't have to be accounts, right? So I can click on X, and let's say I want to get a list view of the leads. Let's see. Do I have, okay, lead is the object. Okay, and I can either show all open leads, or let's see, or I can see today's leads. So I can basically control what information I see here. So for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to all open leads. Okay, how many records do I want to show? So let's say I want to show 6 records and not 3, right? So now it will show me 6 records. Did you see that? So can everybody do this? Go ahead and add a component. What component did I add? I added a list view. Okay, and here what I also want to do next is I want to throw a dashboard here. Okay, so what dashboard am I doing? I can either select something that's available out of the box. I think earlier I created a dashboard. But if I don't have a dashboard, I can go in and check. Maybe I created something called Roberto's sales, right? I did a Roberto's sales dashboard. So do you guys have any kind of a sales or any kind of a dashboard on your end? If you have it, it would show up here. Okay, so I'm going to just go to opportunity dashboard. This is also another one I created. And then let me click on save. Okay, so what are the 3 things that I added? So I added a rich text field here. I added a list view and a dashboard. Okay, of course, there's no limit to what I can add, but you want to just be mindful of, if you add too many things, it will slow down because it's trying to get a list, get a report, get some text and so forth. Okay, all right. So only this one has visibility. The other 2 do not have visibility constraints. So I'm going to go ahead and click on save. Okay, all right. So once you create it, just like a web page, you have to activate it. Okay, so I'm going to click on activate, and it'll ask, okay, hey, what do you want this to be? And do you want it to be visible to all users? So I'll say, yeah, I want it to be visible to all users. Okay, and if it is mobile, you would assign it to the mobile page. Right now, I don't want to add it to the mobile page. Okay, and I can make this app be a part of the application. So maybe I make it part of the sales application. So select this. Oh, actually, did I deselect it? Okay, so no, I didn't deselect. So I selected sales, and let me click on save. Okay, so it says, do you want to add page to the navigation menu? Yes, I'll go ahead and finish it. Okay, so this is how you can design a page, and now this custom page is part of the sales application. Okay, so let's exit this page. Now I have a second page available to me. Right? So this is the custom home page I created. Does do all of you see this, or anything, whatever you name you gave it? Do you see it? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, cool. I'm just gonna click on it. Okay. Of course, if I click on edit, I can edit the page, but right now I don't want to edit it. Okay. Assignments by app and lightning page detail. Okay, let me come back to that. Give me a second. Let me just refresh this. I may have to go in and assign this page explicitly to the app, give permissions and so forth. I may have to do that, but let me just check if I have my custom home anywhere already available. Okay, so my custom home tab is available because I'm an administrator. I can see everything. Right now, the dashboard for some reason is not directly displaying, so I'll have to figure out a way to make it available. But this is my dashboard. Okay, so I can go back to my page, and here, because I'm logged in, I can see it. Right? If I log in as Aditi, I won't be able to see it. So let me go to Aditi and log in as her, go to sales and see if I still see it or not. Okay, can everybody test it at their end? So what we just did is we very quickly created a web page or an app page, and then we are able to control access to it. So as part of sales, but let me just search for custom home. Custom home is available for Aditi too, but if you notice, she doesn't have the tab, and for some reason there's no dashboard as well. Maybe she is not allowed access to that data, so I'll go back and check what's going on, but that's what it is. So she doesn't see this tab at the top, right? If you remember, I had something called welcome to Firebolt Consulting. Okay, all right. So what I want each of you to do is explain one step of this process. Let's start with Suzanne and go. Suzanne, where do I start if I want to create a page? What's the first step?
User interface, app builder.
Where is user interface? Under setup,
Setup,
right?
yeah.
Yep, setup, user interface, and then I go to Lightning App Builder, right? Okay, all right, Jyotsna, your turn. What's the next thing I do? Right now, oh, 1 second, I'm logged in as Aditi still. I'll need to log out. Give me 1 second. Let me go to the administrator. Okay, I'm in admin. So Suzanne's first step was go to setup, user interface, and go to Lightning App Builder. Okay, Jyotsna, your turn.
Then we need to create the new one.
How
Click
do I
on
do
the
that?
new. Click on the new one.
Button. Okay. We learn how to create an app page.
App page.
Right? Yeah.
And
Okay.
select the header label.
Yeah. Yeah.
Custom
So,
app.
Custom. I can give it a name. So let's say this is a mileage, or let's say this is a beach app. Okay. So I have beach app here. I go to next, and then I select one of these. Right. Again, right now I have these are all Lightning components in a way, because this is the template to organize your information. You can pick anything you want. You're not limited to this. You have 8, but I don't have any custom. So I'm gonna, for the time being, I'm just gonna select this. Okay. So 1 header and 2 regions. Okay. What am I seeing here? What is this called, Suzanne?
Quick tour. Sorry.
Yeah. So this is the tour, right? And if I close it, how do I activate it, Shobha?
Yeah. You can drag and drop the components like whatever you call.
Correct. So that's how I build it. But if I want to get the tour or help, what do I do?
Help place and take it.
Right. Okay, cool. So if I want to add a component, right? So let's say I want to add a dashboard. Okay. So I can go in and add a dashboard. So dashboard, let's say I put a dashboard at the top. Okay. All right. So Jyotsna, if I want to just add a title, where would I do that?
to drag the rich text
Rich text, yeah. So I can add a rich
in the
text.
top.
Yeah, you can put it
Yes.
anywhere. It doesn't always have to be in the top, right? So I
Okay.
can put it here. So it will tell you where. So it has 3 places. It can go here, here, or here, right?
Yes.
So I can add it here. Now, can I only have one of each?
I didn't get you.
Can I only have one rich text?
No, I think
You can have as many as you want, right?
yeah.
So all you do is you can keep adding, right? It depends on what your requirement is. If you don't want something, what do? You just go here and click on this trash can, deletes.
Yes.
Okay, Shobha, how do I change the properties of this? If I want to add some text here.
Like on the right side of the page.
I don't see anything on the right side.
You have to click
What
on
do
it
I do?
first.
Exactly. You click on a component and then you go to component properties. This is the component pane, and then this is the component, and these are the component properties, right? And then you say this is a page app. Okay, so I have that. I can change its color, number it, italicize it. You can even make it a link, right? I can just go here and say, for example, we have. So I can get a link to the Malibu beach and I can post the link there. So I can copy this link, right? And I can paste that link right here. Okay. And I can save. So if somebody clicks on it, they can go to that web page. Okay. I can make it center aligned, right? Of course, I can make it bigger. So you just a standard, right? Nothing fancy here. Okay. I can add more details if I need to. Okay. All right. Next is if I want to add a list, right? Flow is basically you can have flows. We'll cover it as part of the process flows. So there are several different ways of automation. This is one of it. Okay. So right now, let's say I want to add a chart of a report. I can do that, right? I can also add a list of recent items. One of the things we did is we added a list view. Right. So Kevin, am I limited to just this object that is defaulting?
No, you can pick any object.
Yeah.
I have another question.
Yeah.
If we were able to stack multiple texts under the text part, does this mean you could add any number of list views?
Yeah, you could potentially add more list views. If you really need it, you can add a list view right here. And one could be accounts, the other one could be
and they don't even need to match.
They don't need to match because it's pulling, or this is almost like a dashboard, right? In dashboard, you can pull information from like 4 different reports and it doesn't care, right? So I can here, for example, I can get a list of campaigns, all active campaigns, right? And then I don't want to enable inline edit, so it won't let me edit this, right? I can hide the action bar if there's an action bar at the top. So if I want to enable inline edit, I can do that. For some reason, my list view kind of looks weird, but let's see. Maybe it's because I have 3. So if I change it to 6, it doesn't seem to change anything.
Too many list views on one page can cause page performance issues. Use them sparingly.
Yeah, page performance is fine. We don't have as many records, so page performance becomes a problem when you have a lot of records to load. But we have like 20, 30 records tops right now. But I'm trying to see why I am not getting a proper list like I did earlier. But that's fine. We can come back to that. Same thing here. If I want to change this from accounts to this is all accounts, I can display however many I want. And if I want to hide the action bar at the top, I can do that. We can add filter. So Suzanne, what does the filter do?
It can
So filter is part of the component visibility, right? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so we can customize it by applying the filter.
filter. So what are we customizing here? We're customizing the visibility, right? Who can see it?
Can you click on add filter?
Yeah. Right. So you can decide, who gets access to this information. You can do it based on the user. You can do it based on the profile. You can also do it based on permissions. Like you can say, okay, hey, I want this to be available only when I am seeing. So I can say done here and only on the desktop. Or you say, I want to see this only on the phone, right? That means this will only be available on the phone. If you try to view it on the desktop, you won't see it, right? If you see an eye, that means it has a filter available, component filter available, right? So this is the accounts. Remember, I have accounts on the left and component active campaigns on the right, right? Now, because I'm logged into the desktop, if I open it, after saving and activating it, I won't be able to see the information on the left here. Does that make sense? So this can be based on users. It can be based on permissions. It can also be based on devices. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and save this. I'm going to go ahead and activate it. I'll do it for all users. If I want to change the icon for my app, I can change it. Right. I can select a fan, save, and finish. Okay. So the activation is done. Let me go back. And what did we call this one? We called it the beach app, correct? So I can go here. Let me search for beach. See, I have my beach app. And what happened to my accounts list view?
It's invisible because you're not on a phone.
Exactly, right? So we'll cover mobile apps next time.
Does the link work?
Of course it does. I mean, the link was faulty, but okay. The link does take us to that URL. I wonder why this didn't show up. Probably maybe it's not HTTPS. That's probably the reason. Yeah. So if I want to fix it, you saw what was happening, right? So this is not a secure protocol. So all I can do is if I want to edit it without going to setup and going to app builder and everywhere. Jyotsna, how do I go to edit the page? I'm already on a page. How do I edit it?
In the setup page, you on the top gear.
Okay.
Edit page.
Edit page. Right. I can click on edit page, and the problem was with my URL. Right. So I can go to this component. I can see the component properties, and one of the issues was with the URL. So I can click on the one second. What happened? It took away the URL. Let me undo.
You didn't highlight the T.
Yeah. So what I want to do is I want to right click. No, right clicking is probably not a good idea. I select the whole thing, and if I click this, it will unlink it. But I'm trying to see where the URL is for this. No, I cannot see the URL for some reason.
Maybe unlink it and relink it.
I can do that, but it should let me. Okay, so for now, I'll just go ahead and do that. But ideally, it should have shown me how to do it. So, okay, so here it is HTTP this time. So I can go to this page. Wow, this is HTTPS. What is it? Let me just test it out. I'll close these two windows. I want to just test my link. Right? Okay, so that's the complete link. I'm going to just paste the complete link and save it. Okay, I'll save this, activate it. It's asking me if I want to change anything. I'm all set. I go back. When I'm going back, I'm going in as a user, and this time again I see the same information, but my link is now clickable. Right? And it opens on a new page. Does that make sense? And everything works just the way. See, these are all active. It's not like, static text. it's actually you can go in and drill down from here. All right. So, all right. So Shobha, for the AppExchange, were you able to finish your installation or did it not fully work?
Like I'm able to install the app, but
Yeah.
I can't finish that what you call the trailhead one.
Okay. Okay. So what we can do is maybe tomorrow you can just share your screen and we can walk you through it. But now that you know how to install the app, see
Yeah.
on the trailhead, let me just take a second. So this is not super easy to, it's not super intuitive. So I'll just very quickly show you, right? So what you do is let's say your trailhead was for the Lightning app builder, for example, right? Now, sometimes what it does is it expects you to use a trailhead app, right? So you need to create this. Okay, let me see. I'll tell whether you have an account or not. Can everybody just for a quick second go to search for Lightning App Builder? That's what we use today, correct? So just search for Lightning App Builder. Can everybody go to Trailhead? Go to Lightning App Builder.
Yes.
Okay, and then if you see, go to the fourth tab, which is build an app. Lightning, was it app Lightning homepage? Yeah, I think all of them have this. So usually either you have a quiz or you have a challenge. And when you have a challenge, what it says is you need some app here. What do you see here? Does it say My Trailhead
My
Playground?
trailhead playground one.
Yeah, you can either do a My Trailhead Playground one, or you can create a Trailhead Playground.
Create takes a few minutes.
Create takes a few minutes, right? So you can create it and give it a name. So that way, see, creating a Trailhead Playground is like creating a Salesforce account again. But the best thing about this account is anything that you do on the Trailhead, you are basically, if you do any of the challenges, you're doing it in this particular account. Okay. Now, okay. So that's, and you can have more than one trailhead, right? For example, I have two trailheads. This is for my Einstein Analytics, and this is for just my regular trailhead playground. Okay, so I can select a playground and launch. When I launch it, just like I have my Salesforce application, there's also another sales application. And whatever I do here, I can follow these instructions. And when I follow these instructions and click on, when I finish everything, I can check and then it'll give me points. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. And maybe in the next class, I can walk you through how to do this. Okay. And Kevin is the master of this.
I've done a lot of this.
He's done a lot of those, so he can help us out. But these are fairly straightforward. I regularly use them too, just to explore. That way I don't have to install, because some of the software is specialized. Like if you're trying to install a health cloud or a service cloud or Einstein Analytics, any of the specialized software, instead of installing and creating an account, you can just quickly create a trailhead. Playground, and whatever steps you do here, you get points. You can do the steps and click on check. Okay, so we'll cover this tomorrow. We can just pick one of them. So what I would request everybody to do is, just so you guys get familiar with it, I want you all to do this, over the next 2-3 days. Just get familiar with it. Okay.
Sure.
Lightning App Builder. Just play with it. Whatever you can do it. Whatever is more challenging, we can come back to it. As you saw, there's no code. You're not writing any code. You're just dragging and dropping blocks and changing their properties, which is admin job, right? Okay, you guys good?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, perfect. So I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, so tomorrow we'll cover a little more of the Lightning app. We'll go through a trailhead. Okay, and then we'll jump into the mobile app. Mobile app, I think, is about 3% of the admin exam syllabus. Okay, All right, and then Suzanne and I came across this one thing. I would highly recommend, especially Kevin, to you and even Shobha, if you're planning on taking the test. So what you can do is you can just search, go to Google and search for Salesforce certification days.
Where the exam will be, like in online or you
Yeah,
have some.
yeah, I have always taken my exams in Woodland Hills, but now the centers are all closed. So you can also take them at home.
Oh,
Okay, you just need a webcam and you need to, that reminds me, Kevin, you need to go in and create a biometric for yourself. Make sure you follow the instructions in your exam um, registration and complete the biometric. And if you have any questions, just reach out to Criterion via support chat.
Okay.
Okay, you want to do it, much before the exam date.
Okay.
So, all right. So the other thing I want you to do, Kevin, if possible, is go to this website. Just search for, like I did, Salesforce certification days, and click on the first link that comes to you. And then what you can do is you can register for one of these classes, especially if you register for any class in April. It doesn't matter which course it is. Like you can do a platform builder or platform app builder. That's what the app, what do you call, the Lightning app builder is for. You can take any of these courses. It's just a free course. It's like 4 or 5 hours. But if you do that, then you get a code, and that code gives you $100 discount. Okay, now your fee is already paid for. That means you can take your $200 fee, and instead of getting one certification, you can save it for a second certification down the road. They can even give us a refund of the $100. But this is a good thing. It's a double win. You cannot lose with this bargain. Of course, the only thing is you're committing 5 hours, but it's a good thing. You can actually, learn a skill. Now, it looks like the certification for admin certifications are all like, this is the day you're taking your test, right? So this is all
The 26th.
26, right? So this is happening after the fact. You can do it, but I would say, pick something that's a relatively closer, even if it is something a little more advanced. You can pick the 22nd or one of these exams. Okay. All right. Shobha, I want you also to check this out. And if you
sure.
are interested, same thing for you, Jyotsna, but you guys need some more practice. Yeah, go ahead.
Sure.
Did anybody have a question?
No.
Yeah. Okay.
I just wanted to add a point. The classes are getting filled up quickly, so it's advisable to register as early as possible.
Right. Yeah, that is true. So like if you try to register, all you have to do is just click here and write your name. Your job title will be developer, right? And then if it asks you company name, just say Firebolt Consulting. Like for example, this class is full, right? So then you have to try the next session. Right, so you can try the next session, and if it is full, it will tell you. Otherwise, it lets you fill out the details, your first name, last name, you enter your company name, Firebolt Consulting, and then this is developer. Does that make sense? So all you have to do is check the box, check this box and this box, and then you click on proceed to checkout. It's free. Okay, so you get a free class, which is a good refresher, and then you get $100 towards your certification exam. Okay, all right, Shobha, if you're planning on taking, just like for Kevin, same thing applies to you too, Jyotsna. Once you are ready, if whenever you want to take the test, we'll just take care of the fee for you. Okay, because when we place you, Firebolt will represent you.
Okay.
All right. Okay. All right. Anybody has any other questions or comments? Okay. All right. Have a good day, and I'll see you tomorrow. So make sure you check out the app. Hey, you're welcome. Make sure you check out this Trailhead Lightning App Builder. Okay. All right. Bye.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye.